Pleasure to talk to you about the third installment. Obviously, the fan anticipation is so big. So what are you most looking forward to them finally seeing?
Saying goodbye. I mean, obviously, hopefully they're excited to see what happens to Minho, what happens to Thomas and the rest of the Gladers, and I'm sure there'll be lots of tears shed on this one, and hopefully it's a good, satisfying end to the series that they've supported now for the last, 2 movies.
How close has it always been to the books, and how have you worked with the books and the screenplays to make it work for the big screen?
I've always said they've been close in spirit to the books. So they've never been exactly page for page. That's kind of the fine balancing act we have to deal with just kind of adapting, words on a page to something that's cinematic and kind of plays in movie form. But James, the author, has always been really kind to us and allows us the kind of freedom to, adapt his books into movie form. So we do our best to please the fans, but unfortunately, it's never exactly one-to-one.
Yeah, of course. Well, talking about the fans, how much, you were involved in all of them. How much did the fan feedback infuse the sequels in your mind?
Oh, totally. I listen to them. They're very important to me. They're the reason we have this franchise. So we take a lot of care to listen to what they're saying. And even if we don't agree, honestly, but I hear what they want. I know what they want, and we do our hardest to give them what they want.
True. Is the story true that Dylan was slightly overlooked for the first one because of his Teen Wolf hair? Tell us about that.
Yeah, I think the audition's out there now, actually. You can see he's got Styles hair, and he just didn't fit the image in my mind of what Thomas was at the time. But it is funny because he's one of the very early auditions I saw on tape, actually. And as we just continued looking through hundreds and hundreds of people, I finally got back to, someone said, you should go look at this guy, Dylan O'Brien. And I said, okay, cool. The name didn't catch or anything, but then they said, we actually have a tape already. It's like, what? Pulled up the tape, and immediately I remembered him, even without even playing it. I remember that image. And then, so obviously his talent, his kind of charisma was apparent. I just couldn't get past that initial image. But, he came in, we talked, his hair was down, and it was like suddenly, oh, this guy might actually work, so it all worked out.
Yeah, absolutely. I think 3 films on, he does embody Thomas in a very effortless way.
Yeah.
So what did you most appreciate about your collaboration with him?
I think Dylan's very much like the Thomas in the movies, although maybe Dylan's a little bit more goofy. He's very committed, and he's very devoted, I think, to his craft, and doing a good job, and he throws himself fully into this role. So, as a director, that's all I could ask for,
There's always very layered messages in those young adult books and stories. What's most resonant for you in what the Maze Runner means?
I think in general, even in the books, to me, the thing that always kind of captured me was that sense of sort of family, that brotherhood, which is a story that you don't really see a lot of, actually. It's always kind of about rebellion or taking down authority, and this isn't so much that, really. To me, it's more about just this family group and what they're willing to do for each other, what they're willing to sacrifice to kind of survive and help protect each other, you know what I mean? So that was always a strong kind of aspect to me that I really liked.
How much do you feel that the technology have always, and more throughout the sequels, informed your narrative and helped you put that vision on screen?
You mean in terms of like visual effects and
yes,
stuff like that?
In terms of what you can do, really, and make it look so real.
It's a challenge, obviously, but that's also part of the challenge. It's fun to take up for each movie as we kind of, as myself, as I get more comfortable kind of portraying, visuals on screen. It's fun to play with those toys, and the challenge, I think, is to not let them become a crutch, and to let them, be a tool to hopefully tell a story. They're not just there to be, spectacle, but hopefully they in some way kind of add to the experience of the movie itself, But it is fun, each movie kind of gets bigger and bigger, but still, in general, I think all 3 movies are, still a pretty small, comparatively to the movies around us, actually. And I think the people that come in, the people that contribute in production design, visual effects, the cinematography, it all kind of adds up to being, hopefully making it feel like a much bigger movie than it really is,
Yeah, it does feel like a big blockbuster.
Yeah.
It's not like a small auteur kind of thing.
That's cool.
Let's talk about the rest of the cast and Kaya being like such an obvious choice for Teresa.
Yeah, I love Kaya. I mean, she was actually the first person ever when I first came on that I wanted for that role. I knew her from Skins. And she just has this kind of mysteriousness that I like, this thing. And she's obviously extremely gifted as an actor, I think, and so it was fun in this movie in particular to kind of give her, a little bit more to chew on, I think, in terms of performance and kind of subtlety and kind of complexity as a character. I mean, she betrayed her friends in the last movie, spoiler. But in this movie, we got to hopefully sympathize with her at least a little bit. We understood where she was coming from, that she's trying to do something good for the world, and that meant, having to possibly, do something she ultimately would regret forever the rest of her life, but she felt it was worthy, and that's something kind of interesting,